The Joe Rogan Experience.
I've been reading about this. I've been watching and reading this woman, Esther Hicks.
Oh yeah, okay. That's that lady that channels.
Yeah, but putting that aside to not precondition anyone, her discussions on manifestation and her explanation of that the physical body, that you have thoughts and thoughts are bigger than your body is simply a bag that protects your thoughts so they can occur.
Yeah.
And that when you think something, you begin to bring it into idea, which is on the process to bring it into the world.
Yeah.
And so when you say, I can't, you certainly cannot.
Right.
And that it's okay when coming from a position of I can, and it's already happened, and I'm just meeting up with what's already occurred.
Yeah.
That there's something beautiful there, especially when it's not really being wrapped in a selfish thing, but manifesting happiness and things you love, and that attracts that's what's contagious, And so I wonder when I see a photo like that about the connection of, and her point being is that she's like, all day long you're thinking thoughts and acting on them because that mind and body are one. They're executing the same process together, dependently. And like that is the embodiment of thought and body and action together, and being ultimately in that vortex of being aware.
That Esther Hicks lady is very strange. I'm very torn on that because I listened to the actual words and the things that she says when she's channeling that. What is it like?
Abraham.
Is he like a dead guy or an alien? What is he? I forget what he is.
One
of them channels an alien.
Right, but I think there's multiple people.
Yeah.
But see, the thing is I've kind of like was listening, stumbled on that while I was driving, and investigating or reconnecting with the law, like the law of attraction.
Yeah.
And how to it's like when you get your motorcycle lesson, they tell you to look through the turn because you tend to go where you're looking. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of people are walking backwards and talking to you as they go forwards.
Right, of course.
And so that it sort of dawned on me the connection between just looking for something you love and not bonding or focusing on all the shit you don't like as a manner of walking towards what you desire. And this kind of reawakening with that concept is just mere 3-4 weeks old for me.
Really?
Well, returning to that idea, because I had this idea, this concept before of like, someone's got to make it. Why shouldn't it be? Why couldn't it be you? Mm-hmm. Let's go for it and really go for it. The only way to make it is to really honestly go.
So you're talking about like your band before you guys made it?
No, I'm talking about a way of acting regarding anything.
Okay.
I love music, and and music has always been my way of being the utmost honest I can be. And I think because of that, that's what's helped gravitate people that have stayed so long in that. However, also I've realized that I put so much of who I really am in total into the music that there are times that I should have done that in relationships with friends or people. It's like, and family, and that it's important to do that in life too. Mm-hmm. To be engaged, and also show your real self. That kind of where the vulnerability of all that is really powerful instead of weakness. It's the opposite of weakness, And so I think pursuing music that way is great, but not if it's keeping you from doing that in life. And so it's not just that I would think that way so my band would do well. It's that I would think that way so that I could do well. Mm-hmm. I could be well,
Right.
And so that's why I started listening to her and not seeing any of the opening gambit of her transforming into
Abraham,
and not caring and not understanding what that means. Just going like, I'm just listening to what you're saying while I'm driving.
Right.
And hearing that and the way she speaks regarding those things is really fascinating. I choose to detach myself from
judgment.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I know one thing, nothing.
Well, it's weird because she's saying very wise things.
Right, but it would be a shame to get just because I don't. That's not the wrapper I would pick. That I don't like the candy inside.
Right. Yeah, the channeling part of it. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So it's not. Oh, you mean it's not exactly how I would do it? Well, fuck this then.
Well, it's not just that. It's like you're listening to wisdom, but are you listening to wisdom from someone who's made up a fairy tale? That's where it gets confusing. It's
Well,
she's channeling.
Well, but
Who is she channeling? And
Well,
how is she doing
I
that?
also think that to be able to learn something, this again, this awakening in me is so new. Like it's in all honesty, it's like a month and a half old, but it feels really good.
What happened?
It's just that you know, I think that engagement in life, you know, and also, you know, feeling a bit lost and not knowing how to ask for help sometimes, you know what I mean? And not really knowing something exists at all. You have feelings. That's a little too vague, but my point being that, like, all of a sudden engaging in something that you really love, not focusing on the negative part of it, but really chasing after that thing which makes you feel good.
So you've changed your perspective. You've changed the way you focus on it.
Absolutely, and in fact, that I realized, like, what sort of, you know, it's fine. It's fine to be afraid of shit. You know.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's not fine to go like, nope, that's not over there. But,
Right. To deny it.
yeah. How can you get stronger unless you turn and really, really look into it? You know.
Right. You don't want to be paralyzed by fear, but there's nothing wrong with being aware that something scares you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I really. 9 times out of 10, you didn't need to be afraid of it, and that one time you do, you know it's true, and you know what it is.
Right.
And that seems like a successful, and in dealing with that too, you get the chance to say, I can do this.
Is that lady still alive? Is Esther Hicks still alive?
I have no idea.
Maybe I could get her in. Have her go wonky on me.
I think it would be interesting because you'd have to separate the things that don't fit right for
Right.
you.
Well, one of the husband has to be there with everything too. 'Cause it
Jerry,
seemed like
he
talks-
died. As
He
I
died?
listen, see,
Oh.
without having no preconceived notion and just hearing this as I drive, when the next YouTube thing started playing, I was like, who is this? Who's Abraham? There was no context for me. I was
Right.
just listening to the words.
Right.
And I was like, wow, this is fucking great.
Yeah.
You know, this is great. And kept listening. I was driving to the desert and doing this other stuff. And
You know what's interesting about it? It's remarkably consistent. Like, she doesn't say anything that's really foolish.
and she never changes her tune.
Right.
About, look, and I started to dig that she was saying we, because until I understood that she was like channeling something, I thought it was just a really beautiful way of saying we. What we want to tell you is, like, as if you were already there.
Right.
And really what she was talking about is already being there anyways. Like, you will have an idea, you will form a habit of one type or another. Which one would you like it to be? And know this: if all you can focus is on what sucks but is yet to be, just wait a sec, it's coming. And where conversely, if you were like, I ain't gonna worry about that because I'd like as much time without it as possible. Let's focus on something I do like until shit
Right.
gets here.
Yeah.
That you naturally look through the turn, and as long as you're not trying to turn into a wall or a cavalcade of shit,
Right.
but if you're trying to turn into something you love, you actually will turn into something you love.
In that case, you should probably embrace challenges, right? You should probably welcome them because when they happen, they will test you, and then you can figure out whether or not this philosophy is actually.
Well, I mean, I have been testing because, you know, I've always like dealt with difficulty by shielding it, putting it into the music or putting it into some dark closet somewhere. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's just, you're taught to do that, right?
Yeah.
Like gnash your teeth and grin and bear
Or
it.
ignore it. Or,
Ignore, yeah, like
Yeah.
that's what the rug is for, sweeping stuff under.
Right.
Where you're like, oh,
Right.
really? But that feels like building a dam or something. when really you're supposed to let that river of fear or whatever go with it, go downstream with it, stop fighting it.
Yeah.
Because you dam all that shit up, put it in the corner, bury it behind, and really one day it just like gives you a massive bath of you're fucked, that damn brings.
That whole law of attraction thing is very strange to me because I feel like everybody's trying to describe something that there's some element of truth to, but that it's really complicated and it's not as simple as think it and manifest it. There's a lot of discipline involved in that. There's a lot of hard work and concentration and thought and doubts and hopes and dreams, and there's a lot of other things, and then also fortune.
Well,
there's a lot of people.
I feel like I would never use that for fortune. For me, the fortune would be like that your relationships and emotional connections get deeper.
Yeah, I don't mean fortune. I mean being fortunate.
Fortunate, yeah.
I mean being lucky. Like we're lucky we're here.
Well, we're blessed we're here.
Yes,
but
yes.
it's not really lucky. And I think that's one of the main things right there is understanding the difference in thought. Because ultimately what you're saying, what one is that hard work that you're talking about, and all those things are sort of getting out of your own way and unlearning how to be so doubtful about it all and just say, I'll take something I like, and I'll just think about that for a bit, and let that be the first step, and then go, what do I keep going down that river, downstream of that idea, getting closer and closer to something you really love, because saying I don't like this water bottle sucks, but saying, but at least I don't have to drink it is one step away from that, and if you just keep taking those steps away and going down that river, that's the right direction to be going. Because focusing on this is like, how's that going to help you? God, it's got this blue binding, and it's
Well, it's certainly not going to help you to think about how fortunate you are.
yeah.
Is it? I mean, I guess it kind of is.
It's blocking you. Well, it's blocking you from feeling fortunate, but saying at least I don't have to drink them every day is turning the right direction and heading towards how fortunate you are. And if you keep taking those little those steps, then soon you get to like, I feel fortunate to be here.
Right.
I feel fortunate I don't have to think about this bottle of water all the time. That's quite nice.
Genuine gratitude. Also, it clears your mind if you're thinking about positive things and working towards those things, it clears your mind of a lot of the natural traps that we set for each other.
Yeah, dumb nuts baggage.
Yeah.
Those hurdles we make are tailor-made because they're made by you for you.
Right.
How could they not work?
Yeah, they highlight your actual real insecurities and fears that you know you have.
Absolutely, and you go, this is sure to trap someone because look, and then you're in it.
Yeah.
Because you made it for you. It's like, to trap me. And I think what I like about what I heard her saying is that because it came from no context whatsoever, and I just heard the words, it said, can you get out of your own way?
Yeah.
That's what I would like you to think about first.
What is that? There's an ancient tale, the tale of two wolves, meaning how to live your life. That like you,
I know it.
One wolf is filled with fear, and how does that go?
My mother just gave it to my kids.
Really? How's it go?
It is paraphrasing. She bought this framed thing. Like, there are two wolves, and one is anger, and one is like love, and they both exist, but ultimately, it's like which one are you going to feed?
Yeah.
That it's really the. I think I'm correct in saying
it's
ultimate
something
goal
you're paraphrasing, but it's something like that. It's the one that survives and succeeds is the one you feed.
Well, I think the younger, Native American says, well, how do I know which one? How do I not let one take over? And it's like, well, which one are you going to feed ultimately?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the more you concentrate on positive things and the less you concentrate on negative things, for sure you're freeing your mind up and you gain the momentum of positive thought and the momentum of living your life with positive thought. It becomes easier to do and more rewarding to do.
I think it's also necessary to say, I'm not talking about walking around in collapsia like going, Right. It's just like smile.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Being nice and in action, you're talking about this. You're not talking about this like in some sort of a a random?
Well, it starts with a thought.
Mm-hmm.
It works into an idea and then manifests itself into like a smile or just, it's nice to do something nice and also understand that I'm not talking about walking around like, hi.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not talking about being some goof tits, dumb nuts motherfucker. That's what I'm saying is do something nice and start that way.
Yeah.
And leave it at that. And I think there's something to when your thoughts are filled with this, there's just frankly less room for me to think about this water, which I dislike.
Right.
There's frankly there's less real estate.
Right. You're
Because
using your real estate on positive things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and because of the contagion of enjoying it. Because things that are positive are essentially what? Things I like.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying being here. So this water doesn't really, I don't have real estate for that.
Right. Right.
I've got too much enjoyment and to be here, you know? And that'll do.
Now this Esther Hicks thing, how did you get into this?
Completely by accident or not. meaning, you know, sometimes things just slam down on the table and say, you got to be engaged. This is the moment to do it or not.
Right.
And nothing incites a change like that. It's sort of a gift, actually. It's saying, it's struggle now. But if you struggle through this, it's going to get better. You know, and I'm actually really thankful and appreciative of that sort of moment. I don't mind the risk of all that. That's what it's all about.
How'd you stumble upon it, though?
I just was like looking for through the law of attraction and finding a way to change my thoughts to things I loved. And I listened to a couple. I was driving, and it just clicked onto hers. It auto-played, and there it was. And as I said, without any sort of judgment, and I'm the last person that's kind of a joiner or would be accused of being hippy-dippies or whatever, like kind of like someone who's scared would say, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it just made sense to me, almost the calculus of it all. It's a complex problem, but get out of your own way, keep it simple, listen.
But she goes further than that, right? She actually talks about your thoughts manifesting reality. And she talks about how what you're doing with your thoughts and the way you think and the way you sort of interface with reality is you're creating reality with your mind.
Right. Right. And and I'm choosing how I want to take that and have that mean something to me.
So you're finding an application for that in your life.
And
so,
also, I'm within the spectrum of all the things she's talking about. I simply am looking for ways to, in my immediate life with the people that are close to me, how to be more engaged and how to be more engaging myself. Because as I said, I've had a lot of troubled times in the last few years because of just feeling lost and not knowing how to deal with that. And you always put that in your music. But maybe I should be putting it into more than just that too. Mm-hmm. It doesn't negate wanting your music to be truth.
Right.
That's what it's for. But also it should be inspiring to point that in other directions too.
Are you bringing this to the band? Like, have you said, hey guys, listen to this channel here, lady?
No, because I mean, I'm surprised I'm sort of revealing it here. It's because I'm not a disciple of anything.
Yeah, but listen, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, honestly. Because I mean, I've listened to it too. A buddy of mine was really into it, and he turned me on to it, and I listened to it, and I said, okay, there's a lot of wacky shit going on here. There's like, I think she's channeling 1,000-year-old person, something like that.
Yeah, Gary.
But whatever, Abraham, right? Isn't that like? I think she's supposedly channeling some ancient person.
Yeah.
But forget all that. The words she's saying resonate,
and they're also sort of like consistent across this thing.
Yes.
And as I said before, I'm mining in a specific vein of like, okay, the people I care about most, how do we all grow right at each other, and how do we do that?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because that is the goal. The goal is to be alone.
And it's also, whether it's wacky or not, look, there's a lot of wacky shit in religion, but obviously a lot of people find some great meaning in it. I don't know how much there's the world is weird and complicated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes you can get real wisdom from shit that sounds like nonsense.
Well, if you reserve the right to be surprised by life,
Yeah.
to have an open mind, you certainly have to unlock the door and open that fucker.
That's a great way of looking at it. Reserve the right to be surprised by life.
That is my goal in general in life, and also now it's my mission, because it's a bit like when I used to like mess around with illegals, like the legal sub things like that.
Drugs?
Yeah. Oh,
Is that what you're saying?
I suppose those are in there too. Yeah.
What'd you mean though? You said illegals.
I meant that wrapped in other stuff, so I didn't have to just say that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, but then I think I just gave that away.
Okay.
No, those things are sort of like, I tried all that for too long, and that didn't really go anywhere. So what else is there? What else is going on?
Right. So you tried drugs, and then you're like, well, there's got to be something else that's going to fill this void or give me some peace. Or
yeah, or like, I certainly can't stand here. You're either growing or dying.
Right.
And since I'm less interested in dying, I'm like, what else?
Yeah.
What else do we got?
Right.
I mean, I think for a while it was, my next thing is well, it doesn't matter. I think what's important is when you said, are you bringing this to the guys in the band? I was just about to say yes until you said, are you telling her about this lady? Because to me,
You're
she's
bringing
less
the
important.
lessons that you learned.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, because I think I've always looked at music this way, where it's like locks. They have these concentric circles, and at one point they all line up, and you can see through the door to the other side. And once you've seen it, you can't unsee that. If I have a song, and we have to, and those concentric circles line up, it almost feels painful or criminal not to go to the other side when you know it gets so much better there.
Right.
And I feel like what I've been kind of learning is I also should apply the same understanding to the people I care about. Like if there's a way for us to have something more meaningful, that's all that being meaningful is. Like, money is green paper. These are like, it's fun to collect things, but who cares? It's the relationships you have. And, when you have kids and stuff, it's like enjoying that shit, even when it's rough. That's the thing to get good at. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You'll have plenty of time to die all alone as you were, later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I feel like that's what I'm kind of getting from what she's saying. Mm-hmm. And so that works just fine.
Yeah. Well, if it works, use it, right?
It's not exclusively that either, it's just like
it's a tool.
Yeah, it's one of the tools that I would use in every situation. Is situational. And so I feel like what's great is to have a bunch of tools and not pretend to know.